Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another Way of the Warrior episode. My name is Trevor Martin. I'm the founder of RMF Coaching. And as you know, I go out on social media looking for badass warriors whose main purpose is to promote goodness, not only in their personal but professional life, back out into this dark world, right? Especially now as the news and everything just in this world is just kind of dark, kind of damp, right? We've got violence in the politics and things like that going on currently. It is necessary for us to be able to find people that we can aspire to follow, people that are shining that light, that are putting forth that effort to change things in this world for the better. So I have found, once again, such a badass warrior. Kiley Houck is joining us today. And Kiley, I have to say, I'm all smiles. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such a privilege and an honor to be here. I mean, honestly, I just always enjoy talking with you any chance I get, but this is going to be on a whole other level.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And I will have to say, going back, right, we've had conversations prior to this, and one of those was like the first time that we met, right? And I'm like, holy cow, the energy coming off of you. I was like, yes, this has got to happen on Way of the Warrior. Now, and so right off the bat, that infectious energy, I'm thinking, oh yes, Way of the Warrior. I cannot wait to see what she's going to be doing on LinkedIn, which is obviously the main platform that I'm on. And I'm going to kind of do things a little bit differently because I do want to take a journey into your past, and talk about how you got to where you're at, some of the obstacles that you overcame. But I got to say, your startup on LinkedIn, I mean, you're making traction extremely quickly. How does that feel?
Oh my gosh, it feels so good. LinkedIn is unlike any platform I have been on. Anybody I talk to, I'm like, if you want to be somewhere, be there, because all
Preach.
the other social media, it's all about comparison and everybody's so judgy and it's so toxic. But here, everybody just lifts you up. Like, I mean, clearly that's where you found me. That's what we're doing. We
Yeah,
just care there.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna kind of piggyback on that. The talking about now, obviously, you're gonna find little bits of toxicity, anywhere you go, right?
Yeah.
We're notorious for that on social media. But one of the things that LinkedIn does, to your point, is it provides that network, right? That
Mhm.
business to business network of support. So for entrepreneurs specifically, right? And experience this myself, and you are now, entrepreneurs that are coming in, there's already a built-in support network if you find the right people. Once again, I'm going to tag Sam Sierra on this. She says, people find your people, find your crew. And she's so right. Finding
Mhm.
those individuals that can relate to what you're doing and your niche and the business that you're in,
Mhm.
also your marketing capabilities and what your focus is going to be on. That support's already built in. You just got to find the people.
Oh,
And
yeah.
everywhere,
Mhm.
everywhere.
And they even can connect with you in your personal life. Like, I've met a couple people that I am just genuinely drawn to as their being. I'm just like, I just want to be around you. I want all of your energy and your vibes, just like you were talking about with us.
Preach.
It's just there's such a connection that moves past the professional life. And when you can build that kind of bond behind your profession, oh
Mm.
my gosh, it moves mountains.
Right. It absolutely does. It moves those mountains. So I'm gonna say that's perfect. That's so well done. Right. So I'm gonna segue off once again off the mountains. Right. I'm gonna talk about, because when you think of mountains, sometimes you think of beauty, but you can also think of an obstacle I want to overcome. I want
Mm.
to get to the top of that mountain. I want to climb that mountain. Right. So talk to me a little bit. How long have you been climbing? How long have you been doing this? And where did the journey start?
Oh my gosh, I can't even say a date. I remember struggling with food all the way back into probably like my early childhood. It was always just something that I didn't really understand how to function around because
Mm,
the food narrative that I had been presented with by family, by society, it was so messy. So when I started to build my own food relationship as I grew older, middle school, high school, trying to learn how to provide for myself, sustainability, survival with like nourishment,
Yeah.
it just never seemed like I was doing it right. Like there was never a fine line that told me this is how you eat, this is how you don't eat, because every single process, every single person had a different idea of what was right and wrong.
Yeah.
So I just always I always had a hard time conceptualizing what to do. And in my personal life, I was just always struggling with a lot of mental health. I had depression for a very long time. I still struggle with depression and anxiety. Of course, I do it a lot better now, but when I didn't know what was going on, I would turn to food for that comfort. I wanted that surge of dopamine, that feel good reward system all the time. And I never knew that food was a problem because it made me feel so good.
Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? Isn't that crazy? It's crazy how much control is right up here.
Hmm.
Every it's all right there, right? And when you're on tilt to hey, battle that stuff too, right? It's a mental game every day, baby, right? So when you're battling that stuff up here, it's amazing how much your actions will change and how much you'll allow them to change. So,
Oh yeah.
and especially, I like what you said, like when you're talking about like at a young age, like you didn't like don't understand, like okay, I'm gonna eat this. I feel like I want to eat this. I mean, we don't understand the impacts,
Hmm.
especially as we continue to get older, that making those choices can have. Talk to me a little bit about the mental game. How has mental strength been something that you've always been able to rely on, or is it something that you had to start to build over time?
Oh, I definitely had to build it over time. I think a lot of us want to feel like we have resilience and we
Huh,
want to feel like we are more powerful than our brain. But then there are weeks where we lay in bed and the biggest goal we can hit is just making it to the shower or making
preach.
it into the bathroom to like actually use the bathroom. Like we are so drowning in
Yeah.
everything else that's going on that's circulating in our mind. And it's actually why I talk about how food and your food relationship, it doesn't start with your stomach. It starts with your head. It starts up here, the way you think about food, the way you think about yourself, and how the connection with yourself and your life actually are showing up in the way that you're eating.
Mm,
So when my mind was so toxic, so self-deprecating, and I just hated myself. I hated everything that was going on around me. I blamed everything for how hard my life was when I could be writing my own narrative and redefining the way I was looking at things. My mindset didn't have to be the way I was focusing on all of the barriers, all the problems, all the obstacles, all the mountains. I could refunction instead of the mountain is so, so high. I'm never going to make it. What happens when I do make it? It's going to be such an
yeah.
incredible defeat. It's
Yes.
it's incredible what your mind can do when we give it the chance to work in a way that's positive.
Do you think that I'm listening and I grabbed my phone and I took a couple notes. I like to grab things, especially when they stand out from these. Um do you think getting past all of that from the past, do you think that's been your greatest victory? Do you think that
Mm.
overcoming all of that mental state you talked about, barely being able to get out, like, man, sometimes it's like, gosh, can I even get out of bed? Do I want to get out of bed? Right?
Mhm.
That's huge. Being able to come out of that into a state that you are now, would you consider that to be one of your biggest victories?
Maybe one of my biggest, but definitely not my biggest victory because coming out of that, I ended up going the exact opposite extreme. I think
Okay.
a lot of us, we feel like life has to be on extremes. It's either 0 or 100. We're always ping-ponging back and forth in
Oh,
energy levels with food, with activities, with work. We never feel like we can just navigate the middle in our lives and be comfortable there without
yeah.
being complacent. And when I was struggling, I felt numb. I felt like I had no control over anything I was doing. And I went over to this, I have to control every single thing I do in the most toxic way. Everything. with my food was numbered, calorie counting, macro tracking, all of my workouts and all of my body movement. I had to reach a certain amount of burn calories in order to earn food. And then it all spiraled into my personal life. I couldn't go do things that were outside of my calendar if I hadn't planned it into it, because this was going to get ruined. I was going to mess up this. Then all of a sudden I was going to be stressed, and then I wasn't going to eat the right things. And it just would spiral constantly. Overcoming the control, that was my biggest victory.
Overcoming the control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's so much relatability here because I'm like, yep, I do that. Yep, I've done that. Oh, yes. Sometimes I still do that, right? So, but
Mm-hmm.
overcoming that control, yes. What now, let's be real here. Let's be real. It takes a certain warrior to be able to do that. It takes a certain type of person to be able to overcome that control. Because and I know that demon can come back, right? That demon can come that
Mm-hmm.
control right back and snatch you back to where you once were.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do? What do you do in your daily life right now to keep that little bastard at bay?
Flexibility and mindfulness. Being able to be open to the world, which can seem really scary for someone who is struggling with control, is
Mm,
going to help you conquer that demon. When you are able to implement mindfulness and be in the present moment, you're able to embrace every single beautiful piece of your day, whether it's simply breathing and showing gratitude towards the fact that you're alive, or it's recognizing that your environment, like you have a roof over your head, you may have a car to drive, you may have food that's in your fridge and you haven't had that in so long, and you just feel comfortable going to it and grabbing something. You can put your phone down without feeling like you have to check it 24/7. Any form of control that some external factor has over you, when we can release that, because we're just in tune with our bodies, we're just connected to what is actually going to bring us pleasure without having it to be like an addiction. Because like social media, like our phones, those are so addictive, they fill our dopamine up, understandably. But how can we bring that reward system back into what is actually going to light us up with our passion and our purpose? And truly, journaling is something that I do every day in order to recognize what that's going to be.
I absolutely 100% agree with the mindfulness, and that's something that I struggle with. And
Mm,
you'll see on some of the other episodes where I talk about the struggle with mindfulness, because you get in that rat race, you get in the, hey, I got to do this, I got to do this, and sometimes for me it's, wait, did I eat? Yeah, I ate.
mm,
Wait, what did I eat? Because if I worked out, how much did I work out? Let me go look at my calorie burn. Oh man, did I cancel? Right. So you start to get back in that, and then you lose that control, you lose that focus.
mhm,
Mindfulness is out the window,
mhm,
right? And then then once you realize that you've actually where you feel that you've lost the grip on mindfulness, then you can start to feel defeated. Once you feel defeated, here comes the depression, and we're back in bed. We don't want to move, right? So
yes.
I absolutely love the fact that you are talking about being constantly aware, making sure that mindfulness is there, which accompanies that gratefulness. You talked about, hey, the fact that you're breathing, you're
Mm,
moving, right? You're able to go out and do these things and live life like it's supposed, or like it's meant to be lived. And
mhm.
that is absolutely, absolutely huge. Quick question. What makes you smile?
The fact that I am alive.
Yeah.
I struggled so deeply with depression that it became suicidal ideation. I
Mm,
should not be here. I attempted
preach.
to kill myself on multiple occasions. And the fact that I'm here today and I am able to do things like this, I am able to showcase where I came from and help other people, that truly brings a smile to my face. I have been in the helping industry all my life, in my personal and professional life. I was a social worker before I got into health coaching, and anytime that I can just see a shift in someone, whether it's just for a second because of something that I said that resonated or a connection that we were able to make, or real growth that like happens for years and I can see where they started and where they got to. Anytime I just see a victory for someone else, that brings a smile.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, like no joke, thank you for, been there myself, right? You've been to the edge of the abyss. And that's not an easy thing. That's not an easy thing for
Yeah.
anybody to talk about. I was talking with a gentleman, Craig, the other day, and just talking about how we don't want to talk about that dark, right? We don't want to talk about cancer. We want to talk about suicide, right? We don't want to talk about sex trafficking. We don't talk about any of that stuff. That's icky. Like that's dark. Like, look, we could talk about dark, but like that's dark. Like we don't want to talk
Hmm.
about that stuff. And unfortunately, society has just been like,
Yeah.
right? You dig even into like religion or anything like that. Some religions are like, yeah, suicide, you ain't
Yeah.
right. You're that's it, game over, right? There's no afterlife. So for somebody to open up and talk about that, that takes a lot of strength. That takes a lot of resilience. So I thank you for that. What do you think? I'm trying to think how I want to word this.
Yeah.
What kept you here?
Mm, chance, honestly. It shouldn't have happened the way it did. The first time that I did try to end my life, I was in a bathtub. I had my hair dryer, like the whole skeptical, like cliche. It's the only way I knew how when I was young. I had it plugged in and I had it on an extension cord to make sure it reached my bathtub. I dropped it and somehow it's still unplugged from the wall. Like it was absolute chance. It wasn't anything that was, I have this reason to live. Like I have all of these things. Like I wasn't lucky enough to bring myself out of it. Life did it for me.
I'm never like seriously, I'm never gonna forget that, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, and I'm not, I'm happy
Yeah.
that obviously that it unplugged, but you just think of like, what are the odds? Like, it
Right.
takes a certain amount of force. Like I mean, you had it planned out. Like, I'm gonna
Oh,
have
yeah.
I've got an extension, but like, it's going to happen. It's going to reach, and
Mm.
then life go, or the universe, or whatever, something went. No, it's not, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that right there, like I'm gonna hold on to that. Like
Mm.
I'm gonna grasp onto that. That right there is so powerful. Something said, hey,
Mm.
not today, my friend. You have work to do. So
Mm.
let's talk about that. You've
Yeah.
got work, right? This doesn't happen. You're still here. Smile is beaming. What are you doing? Talk to me a little bit about the work that you're doing right now. Current state.
Yes. So right now I am a health coach. I like to say that I am your go-to diet shedding coach. That's
Nice.
my little title, but really I help you build a relationship with food that you can be proud of because I was never proud of mine.
Mm.
And it filters into so many other areas of your life, building that self-confidence, that self-understanding, and that resiliency to take on other pieces of your day to day that you can also be proud of. So I help people with the mindset shift. While food is important in regards to the nutritional value and the way it gives you energy and all of the biofeedback that you're going to get with your body, it also has a lot to do with your mind and the
Yeah.
way that you think about yourself and the way that you attack daily goals or you take action or the way you give yourself excuses and feel guilty. I help you rewire that negativity, that toxicity, so that you can actually enjoy life and you can let go of the control and the mental stressors.
You know that, and I see, I've obviously follow you on LinkedIn, and I see the information that you're putting out there, and it's badass. Like you are at the you're at the top, what I would say, the top of your game. You know exactly what you're talking about. You know what you're doing, And I mean, I'm going to guess because you're literally living it, right?
Mhm.
You are what you're practicing, you're practicing what you preach, which obviously if people are going to be interested in you, they're going to want to and utilizing you and your expertise, they're going to want to see that. So
Oh yeah.
so so bravo. I think one of the things I first noticed about you is how you appeared on LinkedIn because it was with a smile and a punch to the face, like, hey, boom, Kiley landed.
Mm,
Y'all better pay attention. And since then, every drop that you've done has been that consistently that message over and over and over again, which I continuously tell to entrepreneurs coming onto LinkedIn, hey, authenticity and
mm,
consistency, and do not remember the authenticity. Do not stray from who you are because you
mm,
will have so many people coming at you and being like, yeah, but Kiley, if you really want to be successful, this person over here kind of does what you do and they're doing this as well. Or, I mean, they're doing this and you're not doing this. You probably need this.
mm.
Good news for you, it will only cost you $5,000 to get you to kind of do what this person's doing. But I mean, you'll get a substantial amount of leads.
Oh my gosh, I want to rant about this so much.
Go ahead. Go
Oh my
ahead.
gosh. It's not even just like in the professional world. Everybody is telling you how you're doing it wrong. And it's
Preach.
like, you don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know my body. You don't know my mind. And that is what's wrong with our society. We're trying to tell you what to do and what not to do, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what's right and wrong. And that has been the issue for my whole life. And while I think it happens to everyone, I think it happens to women a lot.
Yeah.
And anyone who identifies as female, they fall into this, you have to be told what's right and wrong because you are not equal. You're not of the knowledge or the power. And so whenever I work with people, I want to show them that the power is you. You're the decider. You're in charge. The choice is yours. I'm
Yes.
here to guide you. Like
Yeah.
it's all up to you, but clearly you need a little bit of support, and that's okay. I did too. What can I do for you to make this work for you?
Preach. And that, so absolutely, you know
Mm,
me, love the whole power within thing, like right
mm,
the warrior within, let's go. It's my whole, my whole spiel. But I like what you just said that, hey, maybe you need a little bump, a little light underneath the ass. And that's one of the things we talk about, right? Coaching is not, it's not for the coach to be like, hey, you're going to do this. No,
yeah.
the coach's job is to be right there, shoulder to shoulder with you, getting ready to swing a battle axe, taking a stance in the arena side by side. It's not us saying, you go do, it's saying, hey, talk to me about your life. Talk to me about what you're experiencing. What do your eyes see? What are you breathing? What are you doing in your world?
Hmm.
Okay. I'm taking notes. According to what you're telling me, here's a battle plan I think we can both collaborate on and work on. How do you think about how do you feel about this? Is this need some adjustments made? Perfect.
Hmm.
I got you. And then when it's time for the action, it's not the coach isn't saying, hey, you better do this, or else it's, hey, I got you. Let's
Hmm.
work on this. Day one, baby. Let's get started. Right? I
100%.
absolutely. You're my people. I love it. I love it. So talk to me as we wrap this up. Talk to me a little bit about the future. So as you boom swarmed on LinkedIn. What are we looking at? Let's say a couple years down the road. Hell, even a year. What's this look like?
Ooh, ooh. So I think my hope is just that I've inspired people. I
Yeah.
I would love to be like, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be doing this, I'm gonna have this. But honestly, I have goals, but they're not always gonna be the driving force because if I don't reach something, I don't want to feel like I failed.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you shouldn't have goals. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't set yourself up for success, but it also doesn't mean that, oh my gosh, it's so hard to conceptualize. Goals are so important. I want to be doing certain things with people. I want to my coaching program to be huge. I want to be able to help immense amount of people. I want to light everyone on fire and help them understand that diet culture is trash and just needs to go and that you need to reconnect with yourself. But I don't want to say numbers. I don't want to say a certain amount of value. I want to just be able to help one person. If like I can just help one person, amazing. And I have done that, but like it's the big goals that make it lack impersonability.
I
I don't even
appreciate
know if that's a word,
that.
but I'm
Well,
making a
hey,
word.
you just made it a word.
Right.
It's staying. But you're
Yeah.
so but I love that, right? You talk about the huge goal, the huge massive goals. It takes the whole that personal experience out of this,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
dropping it down into those small, obviously obtainable goals, right? You don't want to make them impossible, but they got to push you. But that makes the journey more personal. So I love that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I really, audience, I really want you to definitely make sure that you connect with Kiley because I'm going to tell you this right now. It's a warrior that you need on your roster and it's somebody that you need in your corner, right? And I can't stress enough, there's certain individuals that can come into your world that can just light it up and can give you a renewed sense of strength. Kiley is one of those individuals. So Kiley, how can people as they're searching for you or they want to connect with you after after viewing this, how can they do that? What social media platforms are you on?
Well, as you know, I'm on LinkedIn, so come check me out there. A lot of my value is there. I really dive deep into my posts so that when you are on my page, you're actually walking away with solutions, with tactical tips that you can implement that day. But I'm
Love it.
also on Instagram. I like to make little smaller amounts into those like concise posts over
Yeah.
there. And it's at Kiley Ard underscore Arden on Instagram and Kiley hyphen Houck on LinkedIn.
Love it. Love it. And I can't, once again, I want to say this. I am very, very excited and actually honored and privileged to have been able to connect with you on LinkedIn, more so to be able to sit down and have this discussion with you. Because let's be real, some of the conversation isn't the easiest. But as we've discussed, it's that real, that raw, that emotional detail that people can relate to,
Mhm.
right? Audience, I hope that what you take away from this is that there are warriors out there that are dead set on making sure that they provide assistance and help for you. So I please make sure I can't stress this enough. Make sure you're connecting with Kiley because that is one warrior that you need to get to know. Kiley, thank you very, very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much again for having me. And to anyone who's listening in, you better message Trevor and tell him happy belated birthday because he is giving me this gift for his birthday to be here.
Thank you very much. And I totally can't wait for those. Can't wait for those messages. Hey, but once again, I appreciate you being here. It means the world to me. Obviously we'll stay connected. I cannot wait to watch your journey as it continues to grow. So once again, thank you for being here. And audience, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Later.
Bye.